All right. Hi, everybody. August 26th, Team Call Night. Excited about tonight. I know I am personally kind of regrouping on things, and we'll start with a little bit of shout outs if we've got any today. And then we are diving into some discussion about time management, owning your business, juggling all the things, and still finding joy in showing up to your business. And doing it really strategically. So it's something that I'm working on, and we'll kind of get into that and share anything that we've found helpful or plan to implement, etc. But shout outs tonight. Anyone have some shout outs? Things happening tomorrow in their business or from last week? Ashley, are you crossing your fingers because
I know? Yeah, I was gonna say Ashley's working on it right now. She's rallying.
Ooh,
I have my share cart out on my husband's account right now for a girl who says she's signing up tonight, which would then put me at Diamond because Coach Relations gave me like a pass on any of my coaches who went inactive because of the delays. So if you're in a spot where you have a rank advancement that you're really close to and you're getting flustered, like just reach out to support and then like ask for a manager twice. That will be my thing for you guys. But so I'm just sitting here like so if I look a little flustered tonight, that's why.
Well, that's exciting. We're rooting for you and sending all the good vibes to that girl to get it done tonight.
Fingers crossed. She'll get it done because she'll just hear from me.
Very
so
cool.
It's fine.
On this whole note for a moment, can we just I wanted to say, if you were in the Diamond Dash and you participated, no matter how it pans out, I hope that you looked at it as like an opportunity to really step up your game with consistency and just leaning in and learning from the leaders in there. And if you didn't catch all the resources, like go back and watch the lives that were in there because they were really fantastic topics. But no matter what happens with the outcome, right, the whole point is just to push your business forward in some way or develop some new habits. So be proud of what you did do and celebrate that, even if you're not going to be hitting the goal that you signed up to do in the group. So I just wanted to say that too.
And also, if there's ever an opportunity to do a diamond push like this before and you weren't in it, even if you're not close to it, pay the $20 because that training has like literally propelled me forward so much. So if nothing else, this doesn't happen tonight, whatever, like I gained so much from $20.
Fabulous. Anyone else have shout outs?
I want to shout out Savannah because she just this month locked in her month 2 towards earning her Success Starter ticket. I don't see her on tonight, but
awesome.
One more month. It's super exciting because then they'll be in the test group for Control Freak. Super cool.
I have a question about that because I thought that the July was the cutoff for that.
I think it was this month.
No, I think it was July also. I think Mary Page is right. I think it was anybody that hit the 3rd month in July.
Right. They said something at Summit about that.
Yeah.
So I want to clarify that just so people don't get their hopes.
Let's look at the FAQ then. Because I've been thinking the whole time it's still valid. But if
I know the test doesn't start until the end of September. So it's very possible. But I just want to put that out there.
Cool.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, MP, because I remember people were posting that, and I remember when it first got said that it was July.
All right, we'll take a look at the FAQ. We'll figure it out.
Sorry to burst anybody's bubble.
Yeah.
I want to shout out Tara on this call, who's leading this team in Success Club. She is the first month of pursuing her business. She's at Success Club 24, I think. Crushed it with 80-Day Obsession and is just slaying with Emily. They're just teaming up to run a wellness group and is off to a really great start. So congratulations, huge kickoff to your business.
Thank you.
That's amazing, Tara. If you don't mind, if you would share like 1 or 2 quick tips for coaches that are new, like what you're doing that you're rocking it this month.
I posted the results from 80 Day. I was very hesitant to like do the whole coaching thing prior, just because I was like, how can I like do this without having all the results? But then looking back, I wish I would have started sooner, because you are making results and strides like after each phase and stuff. So I wish I would have. But really just posting that. Sorry, dogs, chaos, kids, but just sharing.
Yeah. So basically being a product of the product, all in commitment and sharing those results. Love it. Awesome. Dun, dun. Yes, Kelly said take pics often. Before and afters are vital. It's true. Cool. Anybody else have any shout outs? No. Cool. All right, Annalisa, do you want to go or you want me to go first?
Sure, I'll go. I don't have too much. I always say that though, and then I gab. You guys are like old news, Annalisa. So, tonight, over the last couple of weeks, obviously you guys know I moved. I've just been sort of unsettled and unplanned, and it was not effective for my business. August was like a slow month for me so far. But it's all because of what I was not doing, basically, right? Like when we have slow months, we have to assess, like, what were you not doing? I was just trying to wing it. I know for a fact now my job starts tomorrow, and I'm already in the like brain of like overwhelm of, holy crap, this is going to be a really tough year of figuring things out. It's going to be stressful, but I need to start thinking, how do I run my business so that I don't get home from work and think, I don't want to put another ounce of energy into anything right now. I just want to sit my butt on the couch and be done with the day. We all get there. And Dana and I were talking about how easy it is for all of us to get super overwhelmed when we're just flying by the seat of our pants and we're just like, oh, I haven't made a post today. What can I post about? Let me get on my phone while I'm trying to cook dinner and wrangle toddlers and post something. Or like, what am I trying to just like come up with, pull out of my butt basically so I can put something on social media, instead of being really strategic and providing value that relates to your brand. So everything we talk about lately ties together. When we talk about branding, when we talk about planning, when we talk about what you're putting on social media, it has to do with kind of building this bubble of a business that all of these things kind of flow into. And so really important for me this year is going to be something like a Sunday planning session. So I'm thinking about opening up a Sunday planning session to do this together, but let's kind of have this conversation first and then see if that's something people want to do. But what I've been learning through the Melanie Mitro mentorship, they talk a lot about this planner, and I'm not telling you to go out and get this planner, but I'm going to tell you about the power behind the purpose of it. So it's Make Chic Happen. It's a 52-week social media game plan. It's another planner, but this planner is all about what you're putting on social media every single week to achieve your monthly goals. And it takes discipline, which is my heart, like one of my weaknesses is like disciplined work. But knowing that if I can change that, I'm going to be really solid in showing up to my business weekly. Even if I have a crap day at work, I've already got a plan for what's going up on my social media. I don't have to just think of like, what did I not talk about and waste time trying to blab. Okay. So the goal of this is basically to reverse engineer your month. So let's say, yeah, I can share the link. You can get it on Amazon, I think. The Make Chic Happen. Make Chic Happen planner by Chic Influencer, but you can get it on Amazon. So the goal of this is really to start thinking long-term. And in long-term, I just mean like a month at a time, versus waking up and thinking, what am I going to talk about in my business today? What am I going to promote in my business today? Oh, it's the end of the month, so I should probably invite to a challenge group to hit Success Club. It's getting much more organized about when is there a launch, right? So September is coming up. So to make our lives easier as we're remote teaching, remote learning, remote parenting, all of these things, parent teaching is, I guess what I'm trying to say, is coming up with a plan. So September's coming up. I don't think we have any launches. Pumpkin Spice launches on the 2nd. That's kind of like right off the bat. Putting in the launches on your September calendar, figuring out what those are, when they are. Reverse engineering, how many people do I want to purchase Pumpkin Spice Shakeology from me? And if I want 10 people to get pumpkin spice from me, how much in advance should I start talking about pumpkin spice? Maybe now, right? A week in advance. So you're putting it in your stories and you're literally writing this down on your calendar. On my post, your post probably won't be about pumpkin spice Shakeology. That would be more like a stories thing that you're showing up every single day. There's a launch coming up. So every day, there's a pumpkin spice mention in your Instagram stories. Maybe there's so Success Club. So your monthly goal is Success Club 10. Well, how many people do you have to recruit, or you know what I'm trying to say, to achieve Success Club 10, to get 5 people in your group, right? Well, what group are you inviting to? That's the other thing. We always tell you have something to invite to. Reverse engineer again in my weekly plan. How often do I want to talk about a call to action? So let me back up just a little bit. So you get your monthly plan, you figure out your monthly goals, then you break it down to weekly. How many people do I want to recruit to this challenge group? What am I promoting this week? And then when you have that week, you go in day by day and you plug in the topic of what you want to talk about on social media. So you'll see it's just like a Monday through Friday weekly thing. That's kind of a bad picture, but this week, what I did, I went in and started plugging in ideas, topics, so I don't have to just come up with the more like, what should I talk about today? Chic Influencer, sorry, I feel like I'm talking in circles, so I want to just clear this up. Chic Influencer talks about having a 4-hash method, which is essentially branding, and we've talked about this a lot. But 4-hash method means 4 hashtags that you can just put up in front of you on your computer screen or on your bulletin board or whatever, on your whiteboard, that you are always relating your posts back to one of those hashtags. And it doesn't mean to put those hashtags on your post, even though you can. It's more of the idea that you're living by these 4 hashtags, the 4-hash method. So I'm like literally developing this as I'm talking to you about it. But some of the things that I have as my ideas for those 4 hashtags are working mom, right? Because that's part of me. Like, I am a mom and I'm working out of the house. Juggling act. Like, I had a lot going on. So in my thread, when I'm talking to people like me, I want people to feel like, oh, she's got a lot going on, but she's still getting this done. So the hashtag is kind of that juggling act of working, remote learning, wifing, parenting, coaching, and all of that stuff. And then another hashtag of mine might be something like simple fitness and nutrition. I suck with nutrition, but if I can keep it simple, like, that's my kind of MO in my posts moving forward. Other things that I like, I don't know, I'm working on this idea, but kind of an interior or home goods thing, or shopping deals. Like, you guys know me, I love Amazon, so maybe more I'm creating something in like this liking a good deal type theme. Okay, so in those 4 hashtags, everything that I post about can relate back to that. So why is that important? Because it will make planning your week a lot easier when you know what component of your brand you're trying to hone in on. And then it relates to more people. So you get 4 ideas, you post in your week. Each post should relate back to one of those ideas that speaks to who you are. And that takes a little bit of work. Like you have to kind of, these are just kind of brainstorms of mine right now. And then you're speaking to your people more. So Sunday, you plan, okay, so let me, this week, for the remainder, I have tomorrow, I'm going to have a post about surviving like day 1 as a working mom, back to the routine, right? Everyone's doing that right now. Everyone's talking about that because it's what we're in the middle of. Friday, I'm going to put some testimonials on my feed about MBS because I'm inviting to a group that starts September 7th. So I need that hard call to action, like add value, show people what they can achieve with a call to action on Friday. Saturday, I'm talking about my morning routine because that's a big thread in mine too. Because I'm busy, I need to wake up earlier to get the things done that I want to get done because of that juggling act throughout the day, right? So I'm tying it back into my hashtag. And then Sunday might be something about, we typically shop on Sunday if we have our shit together. We'll go shopping on Sunday. But now that in Sturbridge, like I want to go to like the fresh fruit markets and things. But again, my hashtag was more like keep it simple. So I'm not doing some extravagant recipe because that's not me. So my nutrition support post would just be a simple tip on how to, shop healthy fruits and veggies and like prepping. Something so simple like prepping fruits and veggies to have snacks throughout the week. Easy, keep it simple. So everything I plan out ties back to one of my hashtags, and you work around your launch plans. Does that make sense? I know I said a lot of information. Let me see if I just, and the idea of that planning is that we're working in offense, not working in defense. Like we are building up what we're promoting to without saying like, oh, it's the 30th of the month and I gotta get like 3 more people to sign up. Your month has already had those invites. Show that value. People will start seeing that consistently because you've mapped it out in your plans where you're not just at the end of the week being like, oh, I didn't invite to anything. I gotta throw that up there. Yeah, Steph, I think like I can totally relate to you. You're super busy going to work and like the kids are home and it's just a lot right now. And I know that for me, it's easy for me to shut down and be like, nope, I'm just not going to do anything today. And I know that Dana's going to talk a little bit about like the morning business, like getting those things done, like your business activities in the morning so that it's really structured. Are you talking about that? Okay.
Not mornings, but like in pockets, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I guess I didn't mean morning. It's just in my morning, but like your business activity tracker and stuff like that. Okay. Like getting those things done throughout the day. Yeah. The last thing I just want to say on that is I will post, I just want to make sure I touched on everything I wrote down. Yeah, everything we post about is kind of conveying like one big idea. When you're marketing something, you're speaking about one big idea in lots of different ways. Like when you're promoting a launch group, you might be talking about testimonials or your specific experience or the 30-minute workouts and how they help. So the big idea is to recruit people to that group, but you're promoting it in what speaks to you and your brand and how that relates to your hash methods, 4-hash method. The other thing I have here is it also, this planner encourages you to plan out what you're putting in your Instagram stories, which is kind of overwhelming to me because I just do it on a whim. But when we go into work and we're like, I can't put anything in my stories, like I'm at work all day. So I'm like radio silent from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. What do I do? If you have a plan for that, you guys can literally like record a couple things in the morning and post them later. Like you can upload a video to your Instagram stories in 2 seconds instead of talking at work. right? So have a few of these things in a file or something just so you can post when your Instagram story plan says. For example, I'm going to share this. I have to take a picture of it because I don't think I have the file anymore. Maybe I do, but
I think I have that one in it. I think it's called the Confident Tracker. I think it's in the team page and or maybe in Action Takers too.
It's somewhere because we've definitely shared it before, but I'm going to start kind of using this as a reference because every day, Thursday, Instagram stories, and you can kind of check off like daily life, personal development encouragement, like what did you hear that you liked and you can share, a product you used, a group coming up, payday gratitude, part of your why. So it gives you like a list of things that you can do in your Instagram stories if you're feeling stuck, or just have a bunch of videos kind of saved for the week and put them up there whenever. Like walk around your house on Sunday and talk about those things, put them in a file and be like, okay, I'm going to pop that in my stories on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's strategery. It's really strategic work on Sunday that I need to be disciplined enough to do so that we're not stressing out throughout the week. So I hope that helps a little bit. I know I gave you a lot of information, all kind of jumbled. My brain's kind of jumbled today, but so I'm going to start doing something on Sunday. We can talk about details after that. But it also has to do with a lot of what Dana's going to share with you tonight too.
I like the thought of planning Sundays. I did that for a really long time and then somehow I got away from that. So I like that. I like that idea. Something you just said about stress made me think of something, and I don't know if this is something I heard or I obviously heard it somewhere, but the thought of like having habits that prevent stress and overwhelm versus always feeling like we're trying to combat it. And so just like thinking of, this is funny, but I had a girl reach out to me on Instagram today who's a single mom. Like she's been following me for a long time and we've like chatted back and forth, but never really talked about anything. And she was like, I want to know how you manage things as a single mom. Like, I feel like I'm drowning all the time. And she's like, can you give me time management hacks? And I was thinking like, is she kidding? Like, this has never been my strong suit. Right. But, one of the first things that came to mind to tell her, which is something that we kind of have built in as coaches, is like your self-care routines, right? Because I feel like a lot of times we get more overwhelmed and stressed if we're slacking on like the self-care basics, like sleep and having some type of a little bit of a morning routine that gets your mind in the right place, or even just prioritizing, having some downtime, like self-care time. And those things, it's going to be important as we get back in routines to prioritize that time so that we are kind of helping with overwhelm versus just managing it. So whatever you said made me think of that. But for the coaches that were on our new coach call last night, you definitely heard me talk about some of this stuff, but I wanted to just run through some things that I have either found helpful or have recently like brought back into my routine in my business, because I feel like for a while there, I was really struggling with not focusing when I was working. Like I was kind of, I was getting work done, but it wasn't very productive and it wasn't efficient and it wasn't necessarily getting done in a ton of time. And this might sound very bizarre, but quarantine and having my kid home all the time and having zero breaks was actually very helpful for me in that sense, because in a way, if I was going to get things done, I had to figure out how to get it done faster and more efficiently, and kind of dump the fluff and bring back the discipline of the most important needle movers, because you're drowning otherwise, right? You really don't have time, especially if you are homeschooling or you are working full-time. And that was one of the blessings of quarantine for me, was like, I got to get my shit together, because if I don't, like, I'm going to drown. And it really pushed me back into having the motivation to get really disciplined with things in my business again and figure out a super simple system that's really working for me. So I wanted to share a couple things, and on the topic of motivation, because we all know we're human and we go through phases where we struggle with motivation, whether that's something is going on in your life or you've been around coaching for a while and you kind of lose that like drive and that energy. So for me, I had to start with motivation because I have felt at many times in my business where I was super fired up and I just was like a freight train and you couldn't stop me from running. And I've been at places in my business where I felt like I was on a total lull and I wasn't motivated and I wasn't connected to my passion or helping people or any of those things. And it's a noticeable difference of how I show up and how focused I am when I'm working, when I feel connected versus when I don't. So that's the first thing I want to mention is when you know the why, you figure out the how. And if you've been around for a while as a coach, maybe you need to dig a little deeper into what that why is again, because that's what it was for me. I was just kind of like, this goal would be cool, or like, it'd be fun to accomplish that. But I got comfortable, right? And when we get comfortable, we get complacent. So I needed something that was going to fire me up and get me excited to push for more again. So if you figure out the why, it's going to help you figure out the how. And why I say that is when you know why you want to show up in your work, your business, and when you know why those little actions that you're taking every day, what they're moving you towards, you're 10 times more likely to show up and actually do them, especially when you don't feel like it. So getting clear on what that is. And then working on your mindset daily. I will be totally honest, like there was a period of a couple months where I was really slacking on personal development. I wasn't consistently reading a book. I wasn't necessarily digging into podcasts like I typically do all the time. And that affected me greatly. I think we underestimate sometimes how much personal development every single day does for you and for the mental space you're in, and how much that impacts the way that you show up in your business. Because when you are inspired and when you are fired up, you show up to your business with a totally different energy than if you're just kind of like, I guess I'll go send a couple invites today, right? Like I always, just for a couple examples, when I get up in the morning, I get Declan ready, I get his breakfast, and while I'm getting ready, I listen to a short podcast. And then I'll finish that podcast on the way home from school drop off. This is the third day of school, so that was not before, but like, and when you're getting up and you're getting ready in the morning, listen to something that fills your mind up and puts it in a good space. When you're cooking dinner, when you're doing laundry, when you're driving, when you have those gaps, fill them with something that fills you. That's been a game changer for me again. What are you excited about in your business? Like, are you committed to a program right now that you're fired up? Are you inviting to a challenge group for next month that you're excited about? I'm personally brainstorming to run a nutrition and mindset focus group for next month because I want something that I'm really fired up to run after MBF. So I would encourage you to figure out what is something that you can get really excited about and want to promote, because I know for me, when I am fired up about what I am inviting to, my business activities and my action on them goes way up versus if I'm like, I'm just going to keep inviting to my wellness community. And like, maybe some people are going to keep joining me for MBF, or like, you're kind of like hodgepodging and like just throwing people in a wellness community, right? Which nothing wrong with that. I have an ongoing wellness community, but I know I take way more action and I am way more focused when I am working, when I have something that I am really fired up and excited to invite to. So if you don't have something you're excited about, figure out what that is, plan it out, map it out, grab a partner to run it with you for September and make a game plan. And if you want in on a nutrition and mindset group, let me know. I'd be happy to have you do that with me. The next thing is remembering that consistency looks different in different seasons. Like Annalise was talking about, this is kind of a crazy season for a lot of people, right? A lot of changes, a lot of shifts happening. Consistency looks different in different seasons, but consistency looks different for everyone. And I think that it's imperative that you find a way, a routine that you can be consistent in your business, whether that is you're working early in the morning, you're working after the kids go to bed at night, maybe you're plugging away your business only 3 days a week, right? Because you work full time and life is crazy and you have family time, but those 3 days a week, you're in it and you're crushing it and you're taking action. You know exactly what you're doing. I feel like that's you, Ray, totally. Or maybe it's like right now, my personal goal is crushing my business activity tracker 5 days a week. I write out a full notebook sheet of paper, line 1 through 26. I do 26 connections. I work on doing 26 invites and follow-ups. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, on Saturday, I might work my business for an hour and a half in the morning. And then I've been disconnecting on weekends. And you guys, it took me, ask Annalisa, because she told me this for freaking years. It literally took me getting sick, like physically ill, to learn how to rest. Like, that's how stubborn I am. Like, and how much it was hard for me to ever shut off and unplug. But what I am finding is when you unplug and you recharge, it makes me that much more fired up to plug into my business, because I am ready to work and I am ready to hustle and I'm ready to put in that focus time. But I also know that I have the reward of completely disconnecting and just being present in my life when I have accomplished what I wanted to accomplish that week. And so it works kind of like a cycle of like the plug in, get my, like mentally check in, work hard on the days that you plan to work hard, and then mentally check out and just go live and enjoy your life. And I feel like that prevents burnout, because I have burned out in my business multiple times, and burnout is not fun, right? You lose your motivation, you lose your drive, all that good stuff. So figuring out a way that you can be consistent in your business in a way that works for you. And like, we've always said, like, you have to do your power hour every single day. I'm not going to tell you that anymore, because you have to, it's more important to have the number of actions and invites a day to help you reach the monthly goals that you have set that move you towards bigger goals than it is how many days a week you actually work, right? The only reason I feel like we've ever said that is to get us in the consistent habit of taking action. As long as you are taking consistent action that is getting you the results that you desire, then that consistency works for you. If you're not getting the results you want, then perhaps it's time to shift a little bit what that consistency looks like. So think about it. Is it 3 days a week? Is it 5 days a week? Is it 20-minute power pockets that you work throughout the day? Is it after the kids go to bed? Is it, on Saturday when your spouse is home and your husband will take the kids for a couple hours so that you can work for 2 hours in the morning? Like, whatever that looks like for you, I encourage you to do that. I am no longer going to preach working 7 days a week, because that was how I burned myself out one too many times.
Yeah. Speaking of burnout too, Dana, I had all these like ideas when we were talking, and I just remembered one of them. But I know, like, people have said, like, what are you doing during that focus time? And I think for us, like, getting in the habit of planning things and having a set time of what we do when eliminates the feeling of overwhelm and burnout. Because me personally, I have been spending way too much time scrolling Instagram and being in my Instagram stories and not doing a single thing to move my business forward, but it feels like I'm on my phone all day long. And the other day I wanted to like throw my phone in the lake, because I was like, I'm so tired of being on this thing. And that's just me. That's not this business. That's me having no boundaries in terms of what I'm doing on my phone, when I'm doing it, and those actions that will move the needle forward. If we're scrolling Instagram, it's not work.
That's exactly what my next tip is what you're talking about. It's working from a list. And I think of it as this is my must-do list. I don't know if anybody else is like this, but like sometimes I would sit down and I would write like 25 things on the to-do list, knowing damn well that I could never get all those things done in a day, right? And if, depending where you're at in your business, your must-dos are going to look different. But first and foremost, for all of us, no matter where we are, whether you're brand new or whether you've been around for a while, the vital behaviors need to be first, right? Those new connections, those follow-ups, those invites, the, engaging in your challenge group, the checking in on people. And so I write a very simple to-do list. I usually write it at night so that when I wake up the next day and I sit down to work, I don't have any like, oh, what did I forget today? Or who was I supposed to send something to? Or what call is there? Or whatever. Like, I write it out the night before, and my power hour is always right at the top of it. So when I sit down to work, like I said, I write that 1 to 26 in my notebook page. And I get to work. I go into Instagram, I start networking, or I go into my Facebook messages or my stories, and I start sending, my connections through there. Then I go to my invites, then I go to my follow-ups, then I go to check-ins, then I pop something in a challenge group, whatever, and I cross off that business activity tracker, and that makes you feel so accomplished because you know that you've gotten the most important, like Annalisa said, the most important needle moving behaviors done, and that like lifts a weight off your shoulders, right? I don't know about you guys, but like I at many times have felt like intense like pressure if I wasn't getting those things done because I knew that it wasn't moving me towards what I was saying I wanted to do. And it feels so good when you keep that promise to yourself to do those things. And honestly, what I'm finding, like I said, during quarantine, like I figured out that I can get those behaviors done in 40 minutes or less if I'm very focused. Like I can run through them right now. Whereas before I was telling myself, it takes too much time. I spend too much time on connections. Like I only got through a couple invites, whatever. And now that I kind of have the messages of what I say, they're saved in the notes section of my phone. I know where I'm getting the most views. It's typically my Facebook stories, not my Instagram stories. But I'm making new connections from Instagram connections, like the search page or hashtags or pages I follow. And then I'm making new connections via Facebook stories or posts. And then I'm sending invites from either Instagram stories, Facebook stories, or my posts. That's basically it. And I run through those and then I move on to whatever it is. Like I have, a weekly email that I send out. I'm personally going to be I went to Staples yesterday to buy like a desktop calendar, and I'm going to write in the things that I do on like typical days of the week. So for me, on top of the typical basics, I know those certain days of the week, like this is the day that I write my email content for the week, or this is the day that I offer new coach calls or something like that, right? So that I have a game plan for that. But my point to you is work from a list, because if you sit down and I have half an hour right now and you know exactly what it is you need to do in that time frame, it eliminates the procrastination and the kind of wandering around. And like Annalisa was saying, like the getting sucked into notification, because it's not necessarily that we don't want to work, it's that we don't have a plan. So when we're sitting down with no game plan, we're not necessarily like, okay, let's do it and then let's get it done, right? So less fluff and more business stuff, and you're going to see more results working in less time, and you're going to feel way more accomplished because you're actually working, not fluffing.
Just going to say that, like, it feels like, to me, I feel like I'm on my phone constantly in the beginning of the month because I just want to like achieve Success Club. Yep. But if we like to get my month off, but if we are doing these things consistently throughout the month, those things are going to happen much more naturally, like adding value, showing up every single day in smaller pockets of time versus being on our phone every single day, every single hour, trying to just connect with the right person. Like, I think it's going to be a major shift for us when we can start to get really focused and strategic about what we're doing on social media.
Yeah. And just like you were saying, the discipline component, like I have to work on that a lot. Cause like I tend to like, if, Declan's home and he's like, can I play iPad for an hour? And I pick up my phone and I start scrolling, but I'm like, put the phone down, like go do the laundry, go make the dinner, like go to like do other things. Like I redecorated my room yesterday because I was like, what can I do with the next 2 hours of my life that is productive and not sitting on social media, right? So like catching yourself, that's what I'm working on, is like catching myself in the moment of like, this is not a wise use of my time, this is not filling my cup, this is not getting anything productive done, and then shifting into something else. And I feel like that's something we constantly have to work on, given that we are on social media all the time.
So can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Sorry, not to derail these amazing tips, because I'm really into this call, very much so, but this is hopefully to be productive for everyone. Is I feel like I'm in a place where I'm really embracing when I do have the time and when I set it aside and really treat it like this is my business time, that I'm getting all these actions done. And then really what these actions are doing are creating conversations, right? And then I feel like what I'm struggling with is when I have my next business time, I'm struggling with defining the difference between that new connection versus follow-up versus invite, and just having this inbox that's full and not feeling, you know, are you kind of getting what I'm saying, is like not feeling like the line between those things versus just replying to a full inbox.
So you're basically saying like you're having a lot of conversations with people, but you're not transitioning, or you're not sure when to transition or how to transition them to invites,
or how to nurture that and fit it into your work time.
Can I interject? Because I think I get what you're saying, Ray. Because so like when you have these pockets of times, like your first pocket, you're good because you're like, all right, I'm initiating connections, I'm starting this stuff, I got this, okay. And then when you go back to finish up the rest of your tracker, you're going, oh, but wait, there's a full inbox here. Oh, maybe I should just reply instead of doing all the other things. Wait. Yeah. I want to do this first because they need a reply. Is that accurate, Ray?
Yeah, and not even just that, but it's like some of those replies, like in my head, I'm like struggling lately. Like, okay, I know that these particular 5 conversations perhaps will go this direction, but then a piece of me is like, but these other 5 could go that direction also. And I'm struggling where to prioritize which of those conversations to have. And I'm like, this is such a great problem, but it's actually a problem now in my business. Like it's my needle is not moving forward because I'm so like, I know it's like a good problem to have too many conversations actually active, but like that is where I'm at right now. So again, sorry to derail this. I don't know if anyone else.
No, what I would say to that is what I've started doing, because I would find that too. I would get sucked into just like, I would start my working by responding to all the messages in my inbox. And then all of a sudden 45 minutes is gone and you have nothing else to do. Right. So what I've started doing now is when a message comes through and I'm not working, like say it's the afternoon when I'm like not working anymore, or I've decided I'm done for the night and I'm not working till tomorrow morning, I do not open messages anymore, because when I open them, right, then the text goes black and sometimes then you forget to respond. So I just leave it until the next time I'm going to sit down and work. And what I do, because I know that they're going to be there, I go through and I do my power hour first. And then if I have time, I go back to the responses after, because those are not necessarily, if they're not like invites or follow-ups or new connections, like you already have those conversations started. But I prioritize like the action taking activities first. And then I go into those conversations after, because I feel like I can get through them pretty quickly. But I don't know if you're too saying like you're just having conversations and building relationships and you're not sure how to transition them. I honestly don't feel like there's a right time to know when to transition. Like I feel like a lot of people struggle with that. And my answer to you is start the message with an I don't know if you've ever considered, or I don't know if you saw my transformation post that I made on Tuesday, or I don't know if you saw the post I made about coaching the other day. People are following you for a reason. They're engaging you with you for a reason. People don't just talk to people on Facebook or Instagram when they're not interested in what they're doing or something they have to offer, right? You follow people on social media that you're inspired by, or they share something of value, or they make you laugh, or like whatever, right? Like we don't follow people we don't like following, or that we don't want to like know more from, right? These people obviously are chit-chatting with you for a reason. And so my suggestion would be start it with those, hey, I don't know if you saw, I don't know if you've been interested, I don't know if you were too shy to ask or whatever. And then say, I don't know if you'd have any interest. Like that's what I say a lot. Those the messages I send to people following my stories. I'm like, hey, like I hope you find something helpful or inspiring, or like, hey, thanks for following my page. Like hope you find something helpful or inspiring. I just wanted to let you know if you have any interest in working on your fitness, nutrition, wellness goals, or learning more about what I do as a coach, I'd be happy to chat with you about it. I'd love to know what content you like seeing the most. Like have an awesome day. And that's it. It's like it's not a direct invite to a challenge group. It's not a direct invite to coaching either, but it's moving the conversation from like, hey, let's chat about your leopard print shoes, to like, hey, not sure if you're interested or if you've been seeing my posts about this, but like, are you curious? And either they're going to say, no, not right now, or they're going to say yes, and then you continue on, or they're going to ignore you, and then you're going to go back to talking about shoes, right? Like, there's no right time, I think.
And so that know now, right? That consistent know now.
Not now.
Like that keeps cropping up, keeps coming back to you, keeps wanting to talk to you, but then you keep bringing the conversation back. You try to bring it back to like, all right, this is what we're talking about. And there's still a no now. I think that's maybe what I'm struggling with. Yeah, and I really appreciate this conversation. I don't know if anyone else has experienced like that no now consistently, and then they keep wanting to come back to talk to you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Here's what I would say. 2 things. I would say give them a free resource, like send them a Beachbody blog, nutrition, something of value to get them started, and just say like, I have, you don't have to be afraid to say like, this is your boundary and you get to set the boundaries in your own business, right? And if you're not setting that boundary, you can't get mad at people coming back and you pouring in time, right? And I get it, but at the same time, like if you feel like you're being jerked around and you don't have time for that and it's making you overwhelmed, then you got to set a harder boundary. And I was listening to Bob Helig yesterday. I loved what he said. He said, if you have followed up and or invited someone 2 to 3 times and they're either ghosting you or they're kind of beating you around the bush, or they're not giving you a direct no, not now, or they've told you they're interested and they're just not responding now, he said, you make the decision for them. Right? Like you make the decision to take it off the table for them, and you shoot a message. And I've never heard anybody say this before, but I was like, damn, that's kind of genius. He was like, hey, like, I guess, because you haven't responded yet, that perhaps this isn't the best timing for you. Would you mind if I check back in on you next month and see if it's a better time? Or like I would encourage you to reach out to me when you feel like you're ready. I would love to chat and help with you then, because then you're being kind and you're letting them know that you want to support them and you're going to help them in their business or in their journey when they're so ready. But you're also kind of setting a boundary of like, I can't just keep chatting over and over to end up in the same spot. Right.
And what was really awesome about that was that like what he said was literally like, hey, you haven't responded. So I really would love to help you when you're ready. It may not be a good time. Or you just may not be interested anymore. I'm going to take you off my list.
Yeah.
And that's where it is. And you know what? Maybe we can revisit this at a later date. Boom. And I did that with one person and literally said exactly that. And she came back. She goes, next week, I'm doing it with you. Contact me on Friday.
Yep.
Don't take me off your list.
Yep.
And it like blew my mind that it actually worked, because when I sent the message, I was like, oh God. And Rachel, he also said, do not type it out. Do not type it out. Send it as a voice message, because when you type that type of stuff out, it can sound real bitchy.
Yeah. Yeah. Ray's not bitchy.
Rachel, are these people coming to you for advice, or are they just like shooting the breeze with you?
No, like I feel like I did an audit of myself actually. And I just feel like literally I just have too many people that are like, I want your advice on this, that, and the other thing. We have great engaging conversation. I send them an invite. They're interested, excited. And then it's like, but no, not right now. And then they keep wanting to reach out to me for more advice. And I'm like, well, as well is going to dry up.
Yeah. I would recommend even taking it a step further and having an ongoing wellness community that you can be in there for a certain designated time, where all of these questions that are like support related, you direct them to like, hey, please post it in the wellness community. I'll get to that as soon as I can. Then you can kind of set the boundary of like, I'm checking into this page or I'm not like sending 100 messages of like, but you can still build relationships, community, trust, add value, but add value to 100 people versus individually trying to like send them little gems and just hope they bite someday.
Yeah.
I was gonna say too, when I
was doing that with like my email. I like the suggestion a lot. I was doing that with like my weekly email, and then I would be like, oh, did you get my email? Because then I was like starting to get people's email address, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
Right.
Thank you so much. Sorry,
if you keep bumping into that, I would make a couple social media posts, just like the thought of like when you keep getting the same objection over and over and over, like make a public post overcoming that objection. So maybe it would be helpful to you if you made a public post that was kind of like, this is what I do. This is how I serve people. These are the tools I provide. These are the services I offer. And like, this is all in my private wellness community. Like if you're interested in that, like, then let's connect, because it kind of shows like, this is your business. This is your time. Like you are a busy mom, you work, you're a wife, whatever. Like you kind of have to set that like expectation of like, if you want that one-on-one help in that time, then you have to be working with me, kind of a thing. So maybe addressing that publicly would help. My last two tips, going back to like the must-do list and the discipline and the cutting out the fluff, is just finding those power pockets in your day. Like I said, whatever you find to be consistent, but like I've started now, like now that we're on the third day of back to school, like when I'm sitting in the car pickup line, I can shoot a few like Instagram stories, or, like finding those little gaps where we're wasting 5 or 10 minutes and using them productively for something, it's been really helpful. And that's been even helpful the last 5 months, because let's be real, we've been all constantly multitasking with no minutes focused on one thing ever. Right. And then Annalisa, what you were talking about planning your month, but on a different kind of scale, is like, knowing what it is we're inviting to that week. And I don't know if we haven't unanimously decided this yet, but I think that we're going to start trying to run our Meet the Team events the last 2 weeks of the month instead of bi-weekly, being that, the first 2 weeks of the month, we should be focused more heavily on sharing fitness, nutrition, mindset, community, support, accountability, that type of thing, transformations, and really recruiting to our challenge groups. And then we kind of shift gears and we start talking a little bit more about, the coaching, the accountability, the friendships, the business development, the skills, the extra income, like all the different things. Because I feel like sharing the coaching opportunity is something that we can all always be improving on and sharing more of. And if it's more focused where you've already like locked in your Success Club goals and found your challengers and gotten them started all at the same time, and then we shift gears towards promoting coaching more, we can get more people in attendance on those Meet the Team events, because they're really awesome, right? And most people that hop on are really loving them and engaging in them. But even more so being that when we have those back-to-back like that, we're going to have all the new coaches on the team starting around the same time within the same like week and a half time frame. And that's going to be really helpful with getting these new coach pods up and running every single month. So everyone is like coming together as new coaches and creating that community and camaraderie and taking the first steps together. And then with new coach calls also. So it should just help create this kind of like flow in our month for all of us, where we're all kind of on the same page of what we're sharing, what we're inviting to, and then what we're shifting into and inviting to coaching. And I used to do my months like that, where I did, a free group at the end of the month, and then I started a challenge group at the beginning, and then I transitioned to coaching, and it worked really well. So if everybody's on board with that, I'm excited to kind of shift gears and try doing that this next month and see how that goes for us. And I also just think too, if we're planning a little bit more ahead of time, like Annalisa was saying, with the content of like, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Like I went to Staples and I bought myself one of those little square calendars that has like little squares for each day of the month. And my plan is to sit down and write like what topic I'm going to be making a post about on social media that day. I'm not somebody like that can, I'm a more like in the moment, have to be inspired type of person for like content. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually write out, like today is going to be a transformation post, like tomorrow is going to be about this, or the next day is going to be a mindset tip, or the next day is going to be a recipe, or whatever it is, so that I have an idea, a simple plan and a simple idea of what that's going to look like. And then when I go to sit down, it's going to take me 10 minutes, you know, to figure it out and to get it up there. But having that align with whatever we're inviting to. So maybe before this next month kicks off, you know, take 20 minutes and do the ideas that Annalisa was talking about the 4 things. But in my brain, I like just thinking like, what are 10 things that you have gotten from your fitness and your nutrition journey? Like, you know, have you gained confidence? Has your body image improved? Do you feel more confident in your clothes? Like, do you feel more confident with your spouse, right? Like when your spouse comes and gives you a hug, you're not like, oh, get your hands off me. Like those little things, those little daily things, writing some of those down. Like when you look in the mirror, are you smiling at what you see now and that didn't happen for you before? Like what are those little things about your journey that are all under the umbrella of inviting to a challenge group of fitness, nutrition, mindset, accountability, you know, shouting out challengers, you know, talking about what it was like the first time you completed something start to finish and how you felt, you know, sharing your results now, whatever that is, and kind of getting those 10 ideas, you know, to kind of help you create post content for the first 2 weeks of the month when you're promoting your challenge group. And then doing the same thing for coaching. Like, what is it about coaching? Why are you coaching? Even if you aren't making a ton of money yet, like, why do you get on these team calls, right? Like, are you here for the community, the accountability, the income opportunity, you know, the fulfillment, the recognition? Like thinking of all those things that we almost kind of like overlook because we're just like trying to get somebody interested in business, but we forget those little tiny things are what made us interested in it in the first place, and the dreaming bigger and the potential of doing something more with our lives, right? So working to breadcrumb those things in versus, yeah, it doesn't have to be rigid. And Annalisa, you can like vouch that I've always been like the novel writer about coaching, like feeling like I have to go back and like share my whole story of where I started and how I got into coaching. But working to just breadcrumb little bits and pieces like that Holly Hillier said on that Slay Squad call. I think it was 2 weeks ago. If you missed it, go watch it. She talked about how to share the coaching opportunity on social media, how she breadcrumbs like little tiny things, like even if it's 2 or 3 sentences about coaching into her posts more frequently. Reason being, when we have those sneak peeks running, then you don't have to scramble and think, I don't know who to invite to the coaching opportunity because I haven't talked to any about it. And it feels weird to just go, you don't want to go cold invite people to coaching, right? But what worked for me really well on this last month with Meet the Team events is, number one, if you have challengers that are rocking, invite them to join us. Reach out and just, like, you've been posting in the group, you're getting awesome results. I know you're in love with 2B Mindset, whatever it is. Would you be interested in coming and hearing some of the stories of some of the girls on our team and learning more about what we do as coaches? And inviting, because I had made a handful of posts that reference coaching, I messaged everyone on Instagram and Facebook that had liked my post that I had made about coaching. And it was probably the most people that I've invited to a Meet the Team event in a long time, because I actually kind of game planned a little bit more with the content leading up to it versus thinking, oh my gosh, we have a Meet the Team in 2 days. I better go find 5 people to have get on it, right? So just at the beginning of that month, mapping it out a little bit more so that you feel like you are fired up about what you're inviting to, you know what you're inviting to, and you're breadcrumbing those little things into your social media posts. Because I feel like what I'm personally finding is when I'm a little more intentional with that content being relevant to whatever it is I'm going to be inviting to or sharing about, even if it's just nutrition. And I'm like, hey, like, are you finding my recipes helpful? Is nutrition something you're working on too? That's a soft conversation starter to talk about nutrition, which then leads me into a challenge group invite, right? So I'm always looking for opportunities. But I'm finding it so much easier to do what I'm saying about the like vital behaviors and business behaviors first, when I've created that cushion for myself of things to go invite to, because then when I sit down every day, I go to the yesterday's post and I'm like, okay, who am I going to go connect with today from that? So it's kind of like it creates this well-oiled machine, and it just makes your life simple because you're not always like, who should I talk to today? And who should I invite? And what should I do first? Right? So, oh, and one last thing is, if you're looking for a book suggestion on time management, this is an oldie but a goodie. I was thinking about reordering it and rereading it because it's been years. But Eat That Frog was a really great, it's a super quick, short read on kind of beating procrastination and getting more done effectively in pockets of time. So we are late. So if anybody has anything they want to chime in and add, or like Ray, you maybe had some questions about your schedule, anything? No?
I mean, I'll just chime in. I'm going to go live in the team page. No, probably tomorrow when I can find some time.
Yeah.
But like what Annalise was talking about, like the planning part is key. Like at the beginning of the month, I felt like over the whole summer, I was just coasting. I mean, I was still talking to people. I was still inviting, like, and you know, things were happening in my business. I was still also like re-signing, like, you know, new current customers with challenge packs. So it's like things were happening, but I felt like I had no plan of action. Yeah. And so that's what we did at the beginning of September. And me and my success partner, and then our Team Cup team, we all were like, all right, we're going to host a free week. However, a lot of them just kind of, I think a lot of things got busy. So, but I like went crazy with it. And I decided, like, all right, I'm going to plan it out 2 weeks in advance. And then I'm going to invite for it for this period of time. And then I'm going to do this and like lead into it, like send out emails, here's your stuff, and like automate this whole system around it. And so like, I'll go into more depth of exactly what I did, but having that plan of action, like, really made me feel like so organized and so much better about my business.
Well, and so much easier to execute when you're like, this is what's happening, and this is what I'm doing, and this is the email I'm sending, and like that. Yeah, totally.
And it made it so easy to like go into September, like I'm like just rolling people in, and it's been beautiful. So I highly recommend, like, everybody, all of us, we need to like figure out a plan of action, right? And like the whole coaching, inviting the coaching opportunity, like just getting that as a part of it too.
Cecily, I hope I said that right this time. You said, I feel so irrelevant. People are watching, but there's just no feedback. Do you mean people are not necessarily engaging on your, like on your stories and on your posts? Because if so, that's totally normal. On your stories. Yeah, that's normal. I mean, I don't feel like you get a ton of people necessarily commenting or anything on your stories. And even when you put up polls sometimes, what I've found is helpful if you ask like people to engage with things that don't necessarily have anything to do with health, fitness, nutrition, challenge groups, whatever. Like if I put up my fall scented candle and I'm like, are you a fall freak too? Like, is it too early for fall candles, or are you like right on track with me? Right? Because then you're finding your people and these little things that, you know, you're quirky about, or like, do you like this outfit or do you like that outfit? Or like, are you a morning person or are you a night owl? Because those are things that are kind of like personal to you, but they're also connecting with your audience and giving them an opportunity to, anything about food, giving you an opportunity to have them engage with you, but not in a way of like you're asking them to join something. So I think
we're asking for advice, like
yeah,
advice on anything, like home decor, like put in a question box, like people will tell you all about what they think you should do.
Yep. Yeah, and Kelly, that's a good point. Kelly said, you know, like, have you ever seen people that put up a picture and it says, like, ask me anything, and then, like, you're like, well, shit, nobody asked me questions, right? I forget who taught us, like, I feel like it was Melanie Mitro years ago, was like, put your own questions in your own inbox and then go answer them. And it was like, how do you find the time for coaching when you work full time? Or like, how did you start your fitness journey when you were terrified to do it? Or like, how did you learn to overcome, you know, emotional eating, or like whatever it was, but like asking questions that people genuinely might ask you and then going to go answer your own questions.
We should just ask questions like that. Like if anyone does that on the team, you see it, like put a question in the name box.
They should just pick a day, like a Sunday night, where everybody posts a photo that says, ask me anything, and then we'll just go bomb each other's pages with questions. Why do you have the coolest team ever?
I approve.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that on bingo. You guys, I'm making a September bingo challenge for the team, so you better be ready to like do burpees and chug Power Greens or whatever you've got. You know, we're going to do some fun things. There's also going to be some things on there like doing 3 invites to meet the team events and action taking things, but I think it'll be fun and it'll be a little wild, and it'll give us all opportunities to tag each other and help people on social media see our community. So, all right.
I know we need our community boosted because of this damn COVID. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in years.
So depressing. Ashley was like, I miss my friends. And like,
I know.
I miss my friends too.
Um,
All right,
It's
ladies.
the blessing and the curse of this business. You develop friends who are like your soul sisters, but they're all over the freaking place.
Yep.
And then COVID happens. You're like, but my friends, they're.
Hey, life would be very lonely if we didn't have our community right now. At least that's how I feel.
Cheers to that.
Can I just ask one quick question about seeing you guys? What do we think the over-under is on the Success Club trip?
I'm not even going to go there yet because they, as of the moment, still haven't canceled leadership. So I've still got my.
They did.
They did.
Dana.
They did?
Yeah.
I missed it. When
Yeah.
did they do that?
It's in Coach Breaking News.
It was like 2 weeks ago.
God! First, Stephanie. Now you guys got to crush all my dreams tonight.
Oh.
I was still holding out for Arizona.
Yeah.
Actually, that was Mary Page twice because I just supported her when she said that about the success sort of thing. So it wasn't me crushing anybody's dreams
Well,
or anything.
you're the
That
one
was all
that
MP. I
apologized
just
for
agreed.
it, and that's what stuck out.
Stephanie, you're still awake here?
You said not to burst anybody's bubble, and it bursted.
Yes, it is way past my bedtime. I don't know how I'm hanging in here, but I'm here.
Good work.
All right. Good night, y'all. We'll see about.
Good night. Sorry, Dana. We ended on a womp womp for Dana.
And I would have earned my hotel this year too. So
I still miss my friends. Love you. Here we go. High note.
love you too. Bye.
Good night, you guys. Good luck this week.